Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to share some technique tips as well as some exercises that you can use to improve your finishing accuracy so you can be more clinical in front of goal. Just before we get into it, I want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built my website, 7mlctraining.com, and from websites to analytics to marketing tools, they're the all-in-one place to grow your online presence and manage your business. So let's get to work. My first tip before you've even struck the ball is to have an idea of where exactly in the goal you want to place it. The more you practice different finishing techniques in different positions around the box and the more match experience you gain, you'll start to realize there's certain areas of the goal, depending on the position that you're in, that the goalkeeper finds it hard to save. But it's typically going to be in the corners, to the side of the goal, close to the post, close to the crossbar. These are going to be very difficult for the goalkeeper to get to if you place it with enough accuracy. So step one is having an exact area of the goal to aim for, because if you aim for a very specific corner of the goal and only slightly mishit it, you're going to still end up in that general area, which is still a very difficult part of the goal for the goalkeeper to save. So having an idea of where you want to put the ball automatically increases your chances of scoring. So now that we've identified the exact part of the goal we want to put the ball in, it's time to get our technique correct so the ball actually ends up in that area. So as you can see, I'm finishing from an angle. Typically, the far post is going to be the most vulnerable for the goalkeeper. Because I'm at an angle, the goalkeeper will shift across to cover towards their near post, exposing that far side. So this area is going to give us the best chance of scoring if we get it right into that corner. So the first step of our technique is our planting foot. So we need to make sure our planting foot is pointing in the direction we want the ball to go. Wherever we plant our pointing foot and then swing through the ball, it generally ends up in that area. So if I'm pointing my foot directly down the middle here, it's going to probably end up down the middle. So if I'm planting at the middle, as you can see, it goes straight down the middle of the goal. So instead, we want to point it towards the corner we're aiming for. So as we're aiming for that far post, I want to rotate my foot outwards so that my toes point in that direction. You don't need to run all the way around the ball to point your foot in that direction. You can simply rotate your foot last second, firm plant into the ground about 6 inches away from the middle of the ball, pointing directly at your target. You want a slight bend in the knee, engage the quadriceps, and then tighten the core. This is going to make you very stable on that planting foot, which is going to give you a lot more control over the shot and increase your accuracy. So now let's talk about contact points on the foot to generate the most accuracy. And you can generate accuracy with any area of the foot with enough practice and correct technique, but we're going to focus on the inside of the foot and also the instep here. So the inside of the foot, typically you'll use it for passing the ball around the pitch, and that's because it's a very clean surface area, very wide, so generating accuracy is quite easy. So we have a lot of room for error here, so if we slightly mishit the ball, because we've got such a wide surface area, we can still steer the ball in the general direction we want it to go. So we can use this especially inside the box. Some of the best strikers on the planet pass the ball into the corners because they're getting the ball so far out of the goalkeeper's reach, it doesn't even require that much power to beat the goalkeeper. They're relying on the accuracy of the shot to get the ball in the back of the net. So we can use the inside of our foot here. The laces is more used for power because it's a harder surface area. So when you strike through the ball, it generates more velocity. But we can also use the instep, which is exactly between the inside and laces. So you get a combination of accuracy because it's a wide surface area so that there's more room for error, but also it's closer to the laces. So this area of the foot is a bit harder, so you can generate a bit more power behind the ball. So the scenario that you're in will dictate whether to use the inside of the foot, the instep, or the laces. But typically if you're really close to the goal, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, passing the ball into the corners is going to be one of your best options, because even if the ball doesn't have much pace, just putting it in that corner is going to give it a very high chance of beating the goalkeeper. But you can also use that instep area. So if you're slightly further back and the goalkeeper's got a bit more time to react to the pace of the ball, you can then wrap it with the instep and give it a bit more power, but still achieve some accuracy. Whichever surface area of the foot you choose to strike with, what's really important is that you point that area of the foot directly at your target as you strike also. So not only are the toes of my planting foot pointing directly towards my target, but also the striking area of my foot is pointing directly towards my target. So everything is aligning in the direction I want the ball to go. And we're aiming to connect through the middle of the ball. This provides the cleanest contact, which minimizes any drag or spin, so it gives a truer flight of the ball, and the chances of it ending up in that exact area increase massively. So this concept applies to the inside, the instep, and the laces. As long as the surface area of your foot you're connecting with is pointing in the direction you want the ball to go, your accuracy automatically improves. So if we're using the instep, planting foot towards my target, and then as you can see, it ends up very close to that post, which is a very dangerous area to put the ball in. So now let's talk about your leg swinging motion. So the action from your backswing all the way through to your follow through is really important for generating the correct power and accuracy. So we'll start with the backswing. The further you draw your leg back, it gives a greater distance for the leg to travel, so it can build up all that momentum and put a lot more force behind the strike. But when we're inside the box, we're focusing purely on accuracy, so we don't need the backswing to be that large. But also, if I minimize my backswing, it's less time for the goalkeeper to react. So even if my strike isn't absolutely perfect in the corner, because I got the shot off quickly, that time can allow the ball to get to the back of the net before the goalkeeper has time to react. So minimizing the backswing can actually be quite advantageous in and around the box. So let's talk about the follow through now. So after we've struck the ball, what's really important is that we follow through towards our target. So as I prepare to strike the ball, I want my planting foot towards my target, my striking surface towards my target, then my follow through also goes towards my target. And as you can see, it ends up in that general area. So that covers getting the ball with accuracy towards the corner, but how do we keep the ball underneath the crossbar? Because we can hit through the middle of the ball, pointing everything towards our target, but if we lean back too much, we can send the ball over the crossbar, because as we lean back, we start to tilt our foot, so instead of being flush against the surface of the ball, it's now at an angle which can change the trajectory of the ball and send it over the bar. So what's really important is as you strike, to lean your chest and head over that ball. That allows you to keep your foot flat against the ball, so that when you connect through the surface, it's going to travel straight off the foot. And I always say to my players, aim low. If you aim for the bottom corner, which is a very difficult place for the goalkeeper to save, but then you're slightly off balance at the last second, you can lift the ball and it might end up in the top corner. You might have done this yourself, where you're aiming for the bottom corner, slightly mishit it, but you ended up scoring a banger. But if you aim low, you've got that entire margin for error, all the way from the ground until the crossbar. So you can actually mishit it and still put it in a very dangerous spot in the goal. And then once you understand all of the steps required to produce an accurate strike, it's really important to get loads of repetitions in, because in a match, you're not going to have the time to look up, find your corner, place your standing foot pointing towards the exact part of the goal you want to strike in, and adjust all the different parts of the technique. Everything needs to work on instinct in a match, because you've got defenders around you, you're working against a goalkeeper, so everything has to be automatic. And if you get those repetitions in, you start to increase your muscle memory, so you don't need to think about the steps anymore. In a match, you'll realize what position you're in, what area of the goal is going to be most vulnerable for the goalkeeper, and then you're quickly going to adjust and pull the trigger almost automatically. So getting those repetitions in pieces all of these steps together so that it becomes instinct during a match. And now I'm going to show you a few exercises you can use to improve your muscle memory. So the setup for these exercises, I've placed down cones one step in from the post. So this is going to be our target zones in the goal. We're aiming for the corners, those high percentage scoring areas. So we're placing down cones one step in from the post, and then I've placed down a triangle. So there's 2 steps between these cones, 1 at the front and 2 at the back. So we're going to start at this front cone here with the ball. And we're working on snapshots, so getting the strike off quickly. Again, it gives the goalkeeper less time to react. The best strikers in the world don't always necessarily have to go all the way past a player when they're beating them. Instead, they just create a slight bit of space, open the gap, and then put the ball in the back of the net. So we're just going to be on our toes. We're going to shift the ball to the side in between these two cones so that we can strike it with our next step. So we shift it into this gap here, then immediately step into the strike. So let's look at an example here. We'll go right foot first, and I'm going to aim across goal because that's very difficult for the goalkeeper to save. If we shift the goalkeeper's weight to one side and then reverse it in the opposite corner, it gives us a lot more chance of scoring. So we're on our toes, shift, and then we guide the ball into the bottom corner there. So let's apply this to our left foot now. So we start at this top cone, on our toes, shift, and hit in the corner. So as you can see, really trying to minimize the time between that shift and strike. The quicker we can get the shot off, gives the goalkeeper less time to react and more chance of us getting the ball past them. So I'd recommend doing 10 repetitions on the right foot, 10 repetitions on the left. And then for the next set, what we can do is start in the same position, but now we can create a little bit more room for ourselves. So we're going to shift the ball into this gap, look like we're going to strike, take an extra touch, and then get the strike away. These small movements inside the box are going to make the defenders be really reactive because they want to get in front of the strike. They're going to be on high alert. So these small, subtle fake shots are going to open up a lot of space. So it's a shift, fake shot, strike. But the key here is to be sharp with our movements and not hesitate when it's time to strike. The more we delay, we give the defender time to react and the goalkeeper time to react. So let's look at it here on the right foot. So we shift, fake shot, get the ball into the corner. Then we can do the exact same thing on the left foot. So it's a shift, fake shot, get the ball into the corner. For this exercise, again, do 10 repetitions on the right foot and then 10 on the left. And then for the final exercise, we're going to work with our back to goal. So same setup, but sometimes as a striker, you're going to receive the ball with your back facing the goal. So you need to create space on the turn to get that half a yard to get the strike away. So again, we're going to be on our toes here, and all we're going to do is slightly move the ball into that gap and then turn and pivot, making sure we rotate that planting foot so we can get around the ball and guide the ball into the corners. Something about the best strikers in the world is that they always know where the goal is. They understand it doesn't move, so they don't need to keep checking over the shoulder to see where the goal is. They understand where they are based on the position they're in the box. They can see the penalty spot, so that they know if they get the ball here, it's a slight touch to the side and they know the goal is behind them. They know where the corners are, so they can automatically get their technique correct and guide the ball towards the corners. So you don't need to delay by pushing the ball out, getting a look up to see where the goalkeeper is. Remember, in a match, we need to rely on instinct. So everything has to happen very quickly. The goal doesn't move, so you can know that if you plank correctly, get the strike into the corner, you're giving yourself the best chance of scoring. So let's look at this exercise here. We're on our toes, slight touch, get the ball into the corner as quickly as possible. So really push the ball and step immediately into that strike. And then we can do the same thing on our left. So again, on our toes, shift to the side, get the strike away, trying to aim as close to the corner as we possibly can. And again, get 10 repetitions on the right foot and 10 on the left. And then for a bonus exercise, you can piece together the fake shot with the turn. So we're going to push the ball into this gap here, fake like we're going to strike the ball, so slight raise of the leg, raise of the arm, push the ball a little bit further, and then we can get the strike away. So if we've got a defender tight on our back, and we get that touch to the side, but we see they're very close to us and we'll probably block the shot here. That's where we can just take a small hesitation move, push the ball into the space, and then get the shot away. But this has got to be really quickly, because if that defender's high alert, they're going to be quick to try and block the next shot as well. But if we can just get that shot away, we can get it past them before they have time to react. So let's look at it here. So we're on our toes, push, fake shot, guide the ball into the corner, and then we can do the exact same thing on the left foot. So we push, fake shot, guide the ball into the corner. Again, 10 reps on the right, 10 reps on the left. So there we have it, some technique tips and exercises to help you improve your finishing accuracy so you can be more clinical in front of goal. And just before I go, I want to say another huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built my very own website, www.7mlctraining.com, and it's become the central hub of my entire brand and has allowed me to put everything 7MLC training related in one place, from my blog posts to my podcast, as well as my very own 7-day training programs. And if you enjoyed today's tips and exercises and you want a full comprehensive finishing training program, I'd recommend checking out Golasso. I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. But if you've ever considered building a website and you don't know where to start, check out Squarespace. And if you use that link in the top line of my description, www.squarespace.com/7mlc, you can get 10% off your first website. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I'll see you guys in my next video.